Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sold Exclamation Point. I'm gonna start off with some good news we got. Um, we had looked at a property and we got a first offer from the landlord. I did not like that offer. We sent in a proposal with an offer that I much preferred. They essentially accepted it. With an exception of I wanted to move a wall um, in one of the. So the way it's set up now is there's a bunch of offices in the space, and we're gonna rip all the walls down. One of the offices is actually like a kitchen that I can use as a photo studio, and I don't need that much space for the photo studio. So I was like, well, while we're ripping down all the walls, let's rip down that wall and move it in like 4 feet. Gives me a little more floor space for selling. Um, and yeah, so move the wall in while we're at it. And there's an electrical panel going through that wall, and that was the only sticking point, and wasn't that big of a deal. The way I think I'm gonna set up the store, if everything goes well, looks like it's going in a good direction, then I'll move up the counter, which will give me more space to do processing. So what I want to do is actually want to have open air processing behind the counter for apparel. That it's a small change in plans, but not a big deal, and I can do more stuff in that back room. Yeah, so yesterday we put in the formal application for the storefront. Um, what was interesting, I didn't realize this, but they do ask for your financial um, background, I guess, overview of your finances in general. So what they're looking for is, are you going to be able to pay the lease? Which is relatively reasonable, but usually with a renting an apartment, you would maybe verify income potentially, but that would be it. So if you ever look for a storefront, the landlord might request a more in-depth overview of your financial situation. So we submitted that. Hopefully we'll hear back. I might have to provide some more documentation, which is cool. Super excited about this next move. Hopefully we can get that part done and the lease signed very quickly. Heard back from Wells Fargo about the last bit of financing, which I don't absolutely need, but it'll be very nice to have. Um, so that looks like it's getting close to being done, and so we're pretty excited about some movements here. There might still be, even if all goes well, there still might be a little bit of a lag before I'm finally in the space setting stuff up, just because they got to do that build out, which might take a little bit of time. And they have up to 90 days from the day we sign the lease to complete the work. So it might be a rather long wait. I'm hoping they can complete it pretty quick. All right, so we had a okay sales day today, so let's go through those sales so I can get them packaged up and out in the mail. First up, a Minnesota Gophers all sewn sweatshirt. Not super vintage, but maybe early 2000s. Potentially, maybe 10 years ago. That sold for 30. One of the things you should look for is you might not be able to see it, but the size are they don't come to a point like most sweatshirts do. These are rib size, and it's a new piece of material that goes on the side. It actually makes the sweatshirt a lot more comfortable. These sweatshirts actually sell at retail a lot higher because the cost to make them is a lot higher. But it's usually a good sign that the sweatshirt that you have is actually of a higher quality. You'll see it in vintage sweatshirts. Champion reverse weaves, they like that. But there's a lot of other manufacturers and brands that did that. So when you're out looking, if you see those rib size, it's a pretty good indicator that it's a relatively high quality sweatshirt. All right, Pennant. Got this real cool Houston Rockets World Champions from 1994. Really great design. Not super rare design, so $23. We got this Michigan, which is severely faded. So we lowered the price considerably on it. The Michigan went for $21. Had it been in good condition, we would have asked more like $40 or $50 for it. Next up, we got my last one. I had made a big hat buy a few years ago. A hockey store went out of business, and I got a lot of really nice dead stock grails. I actually had 4 or 5 of these, and this is my last one. I got 80 for this, sold on Instagram. Next up, we got KFAN, simple script, probably based on the collection that it came in, late 90s, early 2000s. KFAN is the big sports radio station, home of the Vikings, and home of Paul Allen, who is my favorite play-by-play guy. Italy soccer, 1994. Got a little bit of a crease, but I think it can be taken out. It's not a broken bill. So it can be curved properly. Italy went for $25. Next up, we got a National League umpire's hat. This one's a small size, 7/1/8. I think it's from about 05, if I remember correctly. 7/1/8 are a little tougher to sell. When you come to common sizes, 7/1/4 is where the more common sizes start on the small end. The National League sold for $17. It's got some yellowing on the sweatband too, so that's the price. That explains some of the price. 1991 World Championship Bulls. This has the rope in the front, and it has kind of a weird strap back. It has a kind of a slide at the end in order to tighten and loosen it. You see that every once in a while, but it's not a very common enclosure. So it kind of makes it kind of neat. $25 for that. The ones with the patches are not particularly rare, but there's a lot of different variations. So if you're looking for comp, when you have those patch hats, just look for your variation. If you don't have any, you can charge a little more. But the hats that have different patches that are similar, those are substitute products. So you can't go, well, I only have the only one. They're going for $25. I have the only one of this design, so I'm going to charge $100. Well, the difference between the patching is minimal. You probably can't charge that much of a premium. Maybe charge 30, maybe charge 35, maybe charge 40. But if you go too high, people will just buy a different one from the same year with a patch. It's a substitute product. I think that's all we got. No, we got one last thing, and we got a Smoky Collection. Alex Herrera. Not a player I know. $8. And that's what we have today. Hopefully we'll get started on some more storefront action, but I do think there's going to be a little bit of a calm before the storm. Thank you for watching today, and have a great day.